Hey everyone, it's Jason Deal with JD's Realty and Auction in Clinton, Tennessee. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what to do prior to an auction. And can you buy a piece of property at a real estate auction? Now, there's several types of real estate auctions. So let's just get this straight right now. We're going to specifically talk about estate auctions. Now, estate auctions, I'm going to define that as someone has either passed away or maybe someone's just downsizing, and an auction is a right move for them. Now, what I really want to stress, though, this is not a forced auction that we're talking about. It's not a court-ordered. There's not back taxes. It's not a trustee's auction. It's not a foreclosure auction. We're simply talking about an estate auction. So let's get right into it. The first thing you need to do, research the property. Now, how do you research the property? There's a lot of different ways to do that. Start with our friend Google. Hop on Google and go to the county's website. Lots of resources there in every county across the United States. Get on there. The first thing you want to do is pull a tax record. Look at what the tax record says for square footage of that home. See what the tax assessment is. Find out what percentage that particular county is charging. Look and see how high the taxes are each year. See if there's city taxes and county taxes, or is it just county taxes? A lot of information you can glean from that particular tax card. Next, let's figure out what the property boundaries are. Go back to the courthouse or go to the courthouse physically and pull, if it's in a subdivision, pull the plat map. Now, plat map is simply a subdivision. When it was initially surveyed, it's going to have all of the dimensions of each piece of property within that subdivision. Now, you may get lucky and there could be a survey on file. What if it's not in a subdivision? Well, within the tax record, you're going to at least get a rough estimate of what the dimensions are, how many acres, how many square feet that particular piece of property is. And again, it's right there online. Now, not all counties will have it online, so you may have to physically go to the courthouse. Next, what do? It's time to pick up the phone and call the auctioneer. Find out what company is hosting that particular auction. Ask to speak to the auctioneer who's going to be handling that particular piece of property. Why? We've got to find out some questions. The first question, is there a reserve on the property? Is it being sold absolute? Meaning, regardless of the price, it's going to sell. So find out from that particular auctioneer, and you can glean a lot of information from him and just sit back and have a conversation with him. He can also probably give you some insights on the neighborhood itself. If that particular auction company cannot, maybe it's outside of the area where they're used to selling things, go drive out to the neighborhood. Talk to the neighbors. The neighbors are a massive source of information, and they will freely give you everything that you need to know, to include how many times the police have been there, what the kids do at night. They're going to give you a bunch of information, but you got to go over there. Now, don't just go during the day, go at night. See what the street is like at nighttime. You're going to be able to get a lot of information by just simply driving around the neighborhood and taking time to do the research yourself. Now, other things that you're going to do when you're talking to the auction company is what is required to be able to participate in that auction and place bids. Most companies are going to ask for a percentage down on auction day. Very normal is 10%. So if you bid $100,000 and you win it for that price, you're going to have to pay $10,000 down on auction day. What form of payment is acceptable? That's things you need to ask the auction company. Can you write a personal check? Does it have to be certified funds? Also, do you need to bring proof that you have the funds available to be able to purchase this home? Do you need a letter of credit? Do you need a bank statement? Do you need a pre-approval? What do you need? And it's important that you get all that information and be ready. So when you show up at auction day, not only are you there, but you're ready to place your bids because you found out everything you need to know before the auction began. That's super important. Next, it's time to run some comps. Let's find out what this piece of property is worth. Now, this might be when you bring a realtor in. You know, if you have a buyer's agent, someone helping you along the way, find out, but make sure you're comparing apples with apples. Compare the same square footage homes. If the home you're looking at for the auction has been completely remodeled and updated, don't look at a home that hasn't been updated since 1972. Okay? It's important. Look at the same style home and look at the features in the house, compare apples to apples. And that's going to give you a really good idea of current value and potential resale value. Because it depends. Are you looking to buy this house to move in it, to flip it, to put it in your rental portfolio? A lot of different reasons. You got to know what that reason is as you're going into it. Because if it's a home that you know needs updated and you're looking at doing a flip on it, well, unless you're a beginner and you're watching this video, obviously there's a whole nother video series that we could do on preparing that home for flip, the budget, what's the resale value, can you out flip the house for the neighborhood, right? A lot of things to consider there, but just understand those prior to the auction and know what you're getting into. Show up on auction day ready to buy and ready to bid. And you'll be ready as long as you've communicated with the auction company, maybe came to their open house if they did an open house and have a conversation. But you can't be running around on auction day trying to get everything ready an hour before the auction begins. You're going to be flustered, you're going to be out of your zone, and you're ultimately probably not going to end up winning that house because you're trying to wait at the last minute to get everything solidified. And that's a bad idea. And finally, know your budget. What is your budget going into that piece of property? And have a range on that budget. You know, if you know that this house is worth somewhere between $100,000 to $110,000, know that range and understand it. Because at the auction, you may have to bid an extra $500, or you may get it for less than your budget. But understand, have a watermark where you're going to be on auction day, and you get that from all the research that you do prior to attending that auction. Guys, hope you've enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. We're going to have a bunch of other video series on buying real estate at auction. Have a great day.